Hello everyone, it is the Social Club. If you joined us on Monday, we referenced we were going to be doing it this week. It's back. Ask the Club on Twitter @BallStreet. We asked you for some questions, topics and general musings. Bit short on general musings, but a few topics for us to get through. First one is from Eddie Gooner, asks whether it's a 3-horse race in the EPL. He means the Premier League, just to clarify.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
He's definitely American.
Yeah. Are you American, Eddie? Let us know. We're going to be discussing David Wagner. We're going to be talking about Fred, who's the best second striker in the league, and whether Tottenham's depth is a myth in a bit. But yeah, is the Premier League a 3-horse race, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Man United, City and Liverpool.
I don't really... I think by the sounding of his name, he wants us to maybe try and include Arsenal in this, but I don't think... I don't think Arsenal are quite good enough, but I think the 3 so far have showed they've definitely got the ability to take this.
I was hoping that we were going to go into this weekend, and I was going to all my little sneaky hopes about Chelsea was that they're not quite ready yet, and you know, with the new manager and they're just finding their footing and blah blah blah. No, Chelsea are really good, really good. They've got the right approach to footy. They've got a great blend of players. How is Mateo Kovacic on loan, by the way? How is that?
Interesting, right?
How does that happen? How do you get so lucky to pick up a player of that quality?
I think it was part of the Courtois.
Yeah, Chelsea, I thought were look absolutely excellent, and I didn't want to have to say that coming out of the weekend. I was hoping Liverpool could put some distance there, but Man City, Dave, are top of the pile as we speak on goal difference, and you know, Kevin De Bruyne hasn't kicked the ball for them this season, so they haven't even had the best player, and they're the early front runners.
They are definitely, again, you can't take that away from the records that they broke last year. The interesting side is the 3 teams in the top 3 are all unbeaten. You know, I didn't really expect that to happen, considering they've played, you know, Liverpool and Chelsea played each other. They've both played Arsenal. They haven't. None of the sides have slipped up. But I think with City, you've kind of got that where Kevin De Bruyne is out and Bernardo Silva's come in and arguably been one of their best players this season. You know, you lose Benjamin Mendy, who got 4 assists in the first 2-3 games, and he was a massive part of their attack. Guardiola's gone back to sort of last season where he's playing an inverted sort of fullback on that side, and of course Sane plays, you know, holds the width on the left wing. So it's kind of like we all know that City have the squad. They bought Mahrez. They've got a little bit more quality off the bench. And they're definitely there. But I think as well, the interesting side with Chelsea is that they managed to play through that Liverpool press. And I don't think that's something that Guardiola's done yet really well, you know, especially in 2018. And that was impressive. The goal that Chelsea scored was an impressive goal from back to front, recovering the ball through the press, round the press, over the top, Hazard's through. Yeah. And I think it's that interesting side. Do Chelsea have enough against the weaker sides? Because I think Kovacic is brilliant in those games where you've got to retain the ball and you've got to move it quickly. But like we saw the week before against West Ham, where a Barkley would come in and be a bit better, or you know, someone to add a little bit more quality in that central midfield in the final third. But it's definitely a 3-horse race. I can't. As much as Tottenham are good and they've done really well, and you take this weekend where, you know, they didn't have Eriksen, they didn't have Dele Alli, and they still won the game. You know, fair play to them. They did what they needed to do. Sign players on new deals. Lucas Moura looks like a great player, but they're already 4 points behind City and Liverpool, and you know, that's kind of a big gap already.
Yeah, the interesting thing just back at the top is really it's the goals thing. It's clicking already for Man City. Yeah. You can see, obviously, they've got the slight outlier of having put, was it 7 they put past Huddersfield or whatever. So they've got that, which kind of does skew the goal score chart a touch. But Chelsea, I think Giroud's a fantastic player, and I think Morata gets underrated. But have they got? Do either of them score enough goals when to get them out of situations? It's basically the same player.
I also don't think they'll be asked about the Europa League. I think they'll put squad players in it and they'll get through probably till, you know, the quarters or whatever it is. But they won't be asked about it. They'll leave Hazard out for those games. It won't mean anything to them. Yeah. They'll know it's all about getting back in the Champions League, and they are a club that can just go, forget about that. That's as much worth as the League Cup to us. So they look okay.
Liverpool look fine so far. I don't think anyone could accuse us of being in high gear either so far. And there's a few chats around whether like the form of the players and what have you. And we did a bit of it on Redmond this morning, talking about Mo Salah. Now he's still doing all the right things. He's still getting into the positions. He's getting the shots, and not in a way where like a classic centre forward where he's being given stuff on a plate. He's still making his own chances as well. Yeah. he's just that little bit of composure's not quite there at the moment. Maybe a little bit of pressure on him.
Confidence, maybe.
Confidence a touch. Yeah. If that once he kind of irons that out, I would expect Liverpool to kick on a bit and then past that. I'm amazed that Man United are so far off the pace. But no, I'm not looking to dig it out here, David. You know,
we've already done that once this week.
Exactly. We've done an entire show dedicated to that. We'll annotate that at the end if you haven't seen it. But yeah, they look like they're completely out of the conversation at the moment. 100%. And then it's a question of whether Arsenal kick up a gear. I do feel as though they're still an unknown quantity with Unai Emery, but what I feel they are at the minute still is a team that's relying on individual quality rather than being a complete I
think they could decide the title at the end of the season. I think that would be the interesting side when Emery gets his style down. You see the form of Lacazette's already massively improved. Fantastic the weekend goal and assist.
Play 2 up front, don't they? Which is very unusual, but it seems to be working for that quality. It showed against us last week. Is that quality can be the difference against sides who are below them or who've got aspirations of getting above them.
Sides that try to play footy. That's when your quality. Well, I think
what Arsenal do is they let you play, and it's almost like you almost fall into that.
We're doing really well.
Yeah, you fall into that trap where you go, these are giving us chances. Let's keep going, and then they get one chance with those 2 strikers and they put it away. And I think that's the difference between everybody below the top 4 or 5 is, and I think Arsenal will have a decent season. I don't think they'll finish above 5th, but they'll be all right.
Okay, cool. I'll tell you what, we're going to skip to because it was kind of referenced already. Ben Spanton Walker at Ben S Walker says, "Is the notion that Tottenham lack depth a myth? We were still able to put out a very strong side with no Ali or Eriksen at the weekend." And to be fair, I had a look at it, and inevitably, if you took Kane out the side, true. But I think that's true of if you took very few teams have got more than one guy leading the line who scores 20 plus goals a season. So I don't think it's fair to criticise them in that regard. And then you look beyond that, Son, Lamela, Eriksen, Ali, Lucas Moura, and you've got guys who can do a bit like Son can do that job up front leading the line if they need to. Yeah, mate, and they've got tons in midfield. They've got decent depth in defence. Yeah.
I think it's definitely becoming a myth. I think they've slowly built this team. Like you're thinking when they sign the likes of Lamela and then they get Son the next window and then they get Lucas Moura, where you actually find they've got 5 players that can play 3 positions, the 3 attacking midfield positions. I think that's actually quite good depth. I think the interesting side is wing backs. I think when they lost Walker, they lost a lot of quality back there. I think Trippier's started to become that guy that's really delivering from those crosses. But it's on the other side. Is it Ben Davies? Is it Danny Rose? Maybe it's not the problem for them isn't maybe the lack of depth anymore, but it's best 11, let's say.
Quality though, isn't it, as well? It's they've got good players, but I think a lot of them are very similar in their ability. And sometimes it's having that one... That it's all right and you can replace Dele Alli, but can you actually replace what he does on the pitch? Do any of those other players ghost around the pitch like he does and create goals and score goals? No, they have different ways, but can other teams cope with those other ways? I think they can cope a lot easier with a normal sort of winger like Moura than you will with a Dele Alli.
Yeah, I think what they've done there is clever though at the weekend because Huddersfield are tired.
Yeah.
What's clever then?
So you don't need Ali or Eriksen.
Oh yeah.
You can rest and rotate.
That's what
Champions League this week
depth
as well.
is only relative if you can't get your best players on the pitch in the biggest games. Now, if you're able to rest in rotation, then fine. You don't need loads and loads of depth, provided that you can win those games that you should be able to win.
That's been a criticism of him in the past, isn't it? Flogging his players till they've got nothing left in them, and then replacing them. And I think maybe this is the next step of the evolution of Spurs is looking at the next game and going, well, hang on, have we got enough to beat this team first? Yes, we have. Well, then we'll leave them out and then prepare. And then that's for me where Spurs have gone wrong the last few years is just flog everybody, get to April and go, shit, we've only got the squad players now to fill those positions where that's where you've got to box clever.
Well, he's got no choice but to do this season because of the exertions of the World Cup, and their squad is impacted by it more than any other of the top 5 clubs in the Premier League. So almost it might just be something that he hit upon here, that he's under pressure. He has to give these guys rest, and it might mean that come the end of the season, you're right, they've actually got 15 or 16 players who are fit and capable of challenging rather than having to piece things together.
I think the big side with this is resting Harry Kane. allowing Son to play that role. When Kane's injured, Son comes in and he does really well. Spurs look really fluid on the counter-attack, really fluid when they've got the ball. But it's that. I think that's the real question now to see whether Pochettino's got that squad rotation down, is rotating Kane. Which is hard because, as we sort of chatted about, he's been the best striker in the Premier League last 3 seasons, you'd say.
Uzair Patel then says, or asks, will bigger clubs be looking at David Wagner if the Terriers drop down? I think absolutely. The only issue he might have, all the good work he did in getting them up and keeping them up last season, will be undone if they end up absolutely bottoming out this season.
Where would he go then, let's say? What would be his next move?
You know what the answer is? Everton's the answer.
Well, I wouldn't go near him. I would not go near him.
Everton's the answer, but you've got no need for him.
I wouldn't go near him. Because I don't think he's that good a manager. I don't think he is. Right. I don't think because the reason I say that is because you have to prepare your team for what's ahead of it. It's maybe on paper he's got all the attributes, but he sets his Huddersfield team up most weeks to just be beaten. No, he does though. He does, and sometimes you've got to be practical.
Harsh.
No, it's not harsh. Sometimes you've got to be.
This is literally the thing that you forced the manager out of your football club for being the opposite of last season.
No, we forced the manager out in Martinez for being exactly the same. Okay, for being so open that you are just inviting pressure on all the time.
I think I say Everton is because you are a top 6 club. No, careful.
I am not having a man who wears a cap as my manager. I refuse to. Pulis, at least he cleans his trainees.
He doesn't always wear a cap.
He does, he always wears a cap. What's he hiding under that head? Has he got a DT-sized head? I want to know.
He's got a good size. He's got a good head of hair. No, what I mean by Everton in theory, what you are is a decent football
club.
No, a good sized football club, but they're not good, with no pressure to actually do anything more, not pressure to break the top 6 in the short term. Whatever you are in that little, it's Leicester, Everton, when it works, West Ham, Newcastle,
all going all
that little clutch of clubs there. If you got the perfect balance of a good manager and some decent spend, you'd be.
We've got one of those things.
6th, 7th.
We've got one of those things.
Yeah,
I think that's that. But Wagner probably needs another season somewhere else, doesn't he? Andrew Carmody, the stat guy, said Fred was going to be United's De Bruyne.
Yes, that guy.
So I went back and watched this clip, great clip. But it was Ped, you were saying that United need a player that dictates the play like De Bruyne and Luka Modric.
Okay.
De Bruyne and Luka Modric are very different playmakers who dictate the play.
Okay.
I was saying that Fred was more of a Modric than a Kevin De Bruyne.
Okay. That's fine.
This fake news right here.
Barkley to Zinedine Zidane, so it's okay.
Fake news. CP the coach. Who's the best second striker in the league?
Dele Alli.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I have Roberto Firmino?
He's a false nine.
You
You can't just throw him into that category. Plays in the middle, doesn't he?
Yeah, okay.
Doesn't play behind a centre forward.
Okay, so well,
he's not playing behind a prime punter, as they say.
So are we talking then as the definition more of a number 10?
More of a number 10, a goal scorer number 10, not a playmaking number 10.
Oh, well, it's Gylfi Sigurdsson then.
Gylfi Sigurdsson is a good example.
Is he a second striker?
He's got 1 or 2 this season.
Yeah.
Wow. 4 goals.
He doesn't do
4
anything on the ball.
He does.
He does stuff.
He does.
Set pieces.
Oh, he
goals.
does.
That's his
He
game.
does. Oh, his stats are amazing. We've got this Icelandic fella who just, if you say anything bad about Gylfi Sigurdsson, just throws all the stats at you. And it's like he's like a hidden gem. He's like, when you watch him, your eyes don't tell you he's having a good game, but then you look at his stats and you go, my God, he created every chance in the game.
I must admit
all from set pieces.
No, to be fair, his set pieces have been horrible this season.
Really? How's he creating his chances?
Horrible.
That's
by the ball.
Wow.
By the use of the ball.
I must admit, I played my wild card in my fantasy football this week, and I had a decision over Walcott or Sigurdsson, and I realised that Walcott has to work so much harder to get his points than Gylfi Sigurdsson does.
Gylfi just turns up, bangs in a goal, chills out.
Scores a goal, occasionally takes a penalty, occasionally scores.
Gylfi could just stand there all day with a pint in one hand and a ciggy in another, and honestly, he'd still create chances. He's just that kind of player.
Just put him on his own iceberg or whatever.
Goal of the weekend, Gylfi Sigurdsson.
No.
Yeah.
Well, Marcus Rashford.
No,
give me something.
Daniel
give
Sturridge.
me something.
Daniel Sturridge.
Nah,
more pressure on
Gylfi.
Gylfi. You've never seen an angry Gareth Street.
What was the score?
It was 0-0, and he just missed the penalty 4 minutes earlier, and he killed one bottom. Oh, it's beautiful.
Beautiful. Did he score the equaliser that kept your side joint top?
Nah.
Oh, is it joint? Are you joint top? Are you?
Don't even
joint top.
Yeah.
No, not really.
Can't win the league on that, mate.
Joint top.
We're second. Let us know who you think the best second striker is in the Premier League in the comments below. We'll be doing more shows on Social Club next week. If you want to interact with the show, you can do in the comments box or at Ball Street on Twitter as well. Gentlemen, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure this week. If you want to subscribe to the relevant channels, please do, and we'll see you next week. Ta-ra.